What's up cinephiles? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, we'll be talking about the third and final installment of To All the Boys film franchise. This is a review of To All the Boys, Always and Forever, directed by Michael Fimognari. Based on the novel by Jenny Han, the movie stars Lana Condor and Noah Centineo as the couple, Lara Jean and Peter Kavinsky, who are at the final year of their high school, and now they have to make big decisions as they enter adulthood because they need to balance their own personal growth and their relationship as well. We're looking at here at a potential long-distance relationship. This is a non-spoiler review of the third film, but needless to say, we might be mentioning spoilers from the first and second film, so be warned. Before we continue with this review, why don't you guys please show your support to the channel by hitting that like button and subscribing to us for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows. Now joining me in this review is the editor-in-chief of Film Police Reviews and one of the co-hosts of Third World Cinema Club, Princess Kinok. Hi!
Hi! Thanks for having me again.
Happy Valentine's Day!
Valentine's! What a really great film for us to review today, no?
Yes, you're fresh from binging because you haven't seen them until yesterday. But what do you think about this third and final film?
I think it's a really great way to watch it. You guys have to try watching it from the first until the end. I think this is the end na, no? Initial thoughts, very interesting because, you know, I'm a really huge fan of romantic comedies. And it's my first time seeing how this generation actually does love our romantic comedies. Interesting, and it's also very cute. So I guess the word here is cute. How about you? What did you think about the film?
I'm just going to say right off the bat that if I'm going to rank these three films, I think nothing will compare to the same magic that I felt when I watched the first film. When it comes to the chemistry of our central characters here, the will they and won't they relationship, I think it's much electric and much exciting when they are not still together as compared to the third film and the second film. But you know, third film has more mature themes, a more mature conflict, though it can be already cliche because we've seen this done by a couple of TV shows and movies, you know, when growing up, choosing what college and leaving some people behind. I think that sort of drama is already played many times.
I also think that the first film had more energy and more charisma than the second film and the third film. What really would draw audiences to watch the third film is the maturity that we've actually been wanting for them to see. So I guess as a whole, it's pure, it's romantic, it's cute, it's refreshing to see. It's not your usual romantic comedy that's drenched in like sarcasm or, you know, a lot of that kind of theme that the other rom-coms have been trying to do before. So it kind of brings you back to the pure romantic joy of being in love in high school. So at the same time, it gives you that good moral standing for kids to follow because the third film would actually show something that not every romantic comedy film would actually show, which is why for me it's very refreshing to see. And at the same time, if you watch it or binge watch it for the whole three films, it actually feels like a K-drama for me. Like, you know, you'd realize, okay, so it's just about an hour and a half long and it does feel like an episode of K-drama film except for the slow-mo. What you guys have to watch out for is the Steadicam. Remember, there are a lot of Steadicam shots. The ones wherein you only see their faces up front. Every time they show that kind of scene, it's like a really huge realization for each characters. And I like that it's not just focused entirely on Lara Jean, but it also focuses on the dilemma of Peter Kavinsky.
Yeah, I have to agree with you because for the first two films, I thought Peter Kavinsky is the weak link of that franchise because he does not have any subplot other than being Lara Jean's significant other, and in here he has one because it was mentioned in the past film that he has an estranged father, so it's nice to put some context to what he was feeling and why he was acting this way in this particular movie. Though I have to say that the first film is the best among the bunch. The third film is still an improvement because the second film I was kind of a bit disappointed. The dilemma there of Lara Jean, that usual love triangle, I was not a fan of it. But in here, they just got to a more grounded to reality. But the high school setting of it, I love the production design. Most of this film is set in the home of Lara Jean, and the mess that they created here, just because they have a lot of colorful cloths lying around, it's very aesthetic, you know, just the overall picture of that high school setting compared compared to other shows like 13 Reasons Why, which I gave up watching by the second season premiere. This is more on the optimistic side, but at the same time, I think that a lot of younger viewers there can learn to the plight of Lara Jean
Yeah,
here.
I agree with. And it's a good thing you pointed out the colors. Back in our day, wow, back in our day, if you watch a romantic comedy film about teenagers, they would usually put the focus of the film's setting in pink, more feminine. Not exactly that teal is not a feminine color, but it's a really interesting choice that they selected the room's color because it shows, modernity and this generation's choices of style. Even with the collage thing,
Yeah.
of the room is messy during the first film, and then it becomes messier each film. Actually, it's really interesting aesthetic because it also makes you feel like you're as young as Laura Jean, right? And it's a good thing as well that they showed more culture.
Yeah, and speaking of culture, we have a lot of globetrotting in here. My favorite part would have to be the beginning when they went to Korea, though I felt like I needed more of that. I think the misstep of this movie, the missed opportunity here is finally delving to the roots of Lara Jean, because that was gleaned on the first movie and it was mentioned here in passing, but they didn't really spend much time on it. I think that's much integral to her character, and just because we're laid out with conflict that's already worn out by now. Clearly, they have a healthy relationship, and whatever problems they have, you know that they're going to sort it out eventually. Looking at the overall conflict of the third movie, it's not as compelling. Maybe that's why I have said that I like the first film out of the bunch. Yeah, but what is your favorite part of that globe-trotting aspect of the movie?
I also like the Korea. I've been wanting to see that since the first film. Like, you guys keep telling me that she's Korean. We only get to understand that she's Korean when they introduced the Korean yogurt, I think, in the first film. But for me, I guess my favorite for this one is New York. I think that's kind of like formula that they had to include New York as one of the places because, it's not a romantic comedy if it's not set in New York. I think. My favorite would be New York, especially when they showed the subway scene. Plus, it's also like a really good character development because, the villains for formulaic films like this, we're used to seeing that villains are villains. But here, you get to see a little bit of character development from Peter Kavinsky's ex, remember?
Yeah.
There's been like a really huge development for her character here. Same with the other, supporting characters. I really like that, especially the dads. He's not your typical father, but it's good that they showed up like a progressive dad, not just your typical dad that tries to fit in or something. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, I have to agree. I do like the supporting characters here, but my favorite would still have to be Kitty, that sassy girl with a heart of gold. I love the dynamic there with her sister because she teases her, but deep inside she's her biggest cheerleader. So yeah, I think we got a good meet to all of our supporting characters, but not distracting to our main characters. They still remain front and center, so that's good. I hate it when rom-coms derail out of the love story. From the dad, there's a quote there. He said, it's a bit cliche, but it rings true very much when he mentioned that you can't save a relationship without growing. So I think that's wonderful, and a lot of impressionable young viewers there might learn a thing or two. This movie has a lot of hallmarks for a high school rom-com. We have here the prom, the senior day out. I think this movie still captures a good amount of teenage years, so it will be resonant to most of the viewers.
That's right. Yeah, it's not as bad as other romantic comedies that are, just banking on the actors. This isn't my childhood, but it's good to see like, oh, okay, so this is how they're doing now. But the common themes, right, that were discussed here is like, what are your plans for college or your life and stuff. So yeah, it's really, really good thing that they actually took on that theme.
This remains sweet. You still remain to root for Lara Jean and Peter Kavinsky. The chemistry, the performances by these actors still remain gripping and believable. So that's important. This film franchise is like eating a cupcake. You have the appetite for it, but there are some points that you feel like you've already had enough of it, but you would still eat it anyway, and it's not a bad feeling. So I think this is a good closure, and towards the end, they bring this movie to a full circle. We got a lot of callbacks and montage from the past films, so I think that's lovely. Also, the soundtrack, especially the song beginning, middle, and end, I think that's the perfect song for this entire movie. So I'm going to give this movie a 3.5 out of 5.
You really like the first film, huh? I'm actually going to give this a 4.5 because it's a really good closure for the whole series. It covers all of the elements that you need to watch in a romantic comedy film. Good performances from the actors, good script, I guess. The flow of the script followed all of the missing parts from the first two films. I really, really love their theme song, beginning, middle, and end.
You're right though, this movie covered a lot of rom-com notes that you expect. Just for the record though, 3.5 is already high for me because I'm not generally a fan of teen rom-coms.
Oh.
I prefer, watching adult relationships play out. So that's it for our review of To All the Boys, Always and Forever. Have you guys seen this movie? Let us know what you think in the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit that like button and subscribe to us for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows. Princess, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me again.
Thank you guys so much for
Thanks,
watching.
guys.
Until then, see you on the next one.